Before proceeding, I'd just like to say that McGill University is on the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe nations, a place which has long served as a site of meeting and exchange among nations. So the Scholarships and Student Aid Office is a proud member of Student Services. We are united in our mission of student wellness, including financial, and helping students reach their full potential, with a focus on student development. Together, we offer everything from community building and large-scale events, group workshops, and one-on-one specialized and confidential services. A degree costs money, which can be magnified for students who take on debt. But very few will argue that the cost is an excellent investment in terms of better job prospects and future earnings. Our philosophy at McGill, which is fairly pervasive in North America, is that there are 4 pillars of financial support for a student to have the opportunity to pursue their first-time undergraduate degree, for example. It is expected that parents will contribute to their students' cost of studies relative to their financial capacity. It is also expected that students will bring money to the table through part-time work, earnings from a summer job, or perhaps what they can earn through scholarships or other recognitions with money attached. Canadian students can also apply for government aid to assist with their studies. The request for financial aid will be usually assessed based on need, and the students might be eligible for loans and bursaries. Applications for government aid can be done through, usually it can be done through your respective province or territory. Finally, we believe it is McGill's responsibility to also contribute financial resources. Some are based on merit to acknowledge top academic performance. Others are need-based, which means after a student's other resources are considered, McGill will give financial aid packages in the form of bursaries and/or loans to help with unmet need. However, we don't replace expected resources. We usually supplement them. Let's talk about all the opportunities and the services of my office to help make these pillars as strong as possible for you. Here's a snapshot of what our office offers, which I'll go further in details in a few minutes. So the Scholarships and Student Aid Office administers the university's need-based financial aid programs. So we have the entrance bursary program, which is a bursary before you start school. We also have the in-course financial aid program, which gives you the opportunity to get a bursary or a loan while you are studying at McGill. We also have the work-study program. You also have the opportunity to apply for a fee deferral if you're having trouble paying for your tuition. We have the mobility bursary for exchanges and the enriched educational opportunity bursary for experiences outside of the classroom. There are some fundamental terms that are important for you to understand. It may work differently here than it does in other places. So I'd like to point out the difference between merit-based awards and need-based aid. Merit-based awards are usually based on grades, sometimes combined with other achievements. They are scholarships found on transcript, sometimes offered automatically or with the help of a selection committee. Need-based aid is determined on the basis of demonstrated financial need. We assess if a student and their family has the capacity to cover the basic costs of attendance. Aid generally comes in 2 forms: non-repayable bursaries and grants, so this is assistance that you do not need to pay back, or repayable aid, which are loans that students do have to pay back. Our office also has created a series of short videos to walk you through the financial support options that also may be available to you. You can find all these videos on our website, which I will also share the link at the end of the presentation. Our office also provides some guidance, usually guidance actually, for government student financial assistance, and all our services are provided in French as well as in English. So for the need-based entrance bursary, the eligibility criteria is regardless of geographic origin. Students also have to be in their first year, first degree program, which also includes law and med students. You also have to be enrolled in a full-time degree program and demonstrate financial need. You can apply for an entrance bursary on Minerva online, and we highly recommend to apply within 30 days from the date of formal acceptance at the university, as funding for the program is limited and is also offered on a rolling basis until resources are exhausted. The application also officially closes on June 30th. The entrance bursary perks is a guaranteed approval if you apply also for the work-study program. But it's also a separate application, which opens usually on July 1st. To apply for the entrance financial aid bursary, you can sign into Minerva and then select the financial aid and awards menu and then apply for a financial aid bursary. Where required, you're also advised to ensure timely submission of any supporting documentation that may be required. Decision times. Award decisions begin in March and continue on a rolling basis, 2 to 3 weeks from the date of application, submission, and or documentation receipt, when it's required. Decisions are also posted on the Financial Aid and Awards tab on Minerva and are followed by a formal letter. The bursary is evenly dispersed to fall and winter fees. Awardees are encouraged to pay special attention to their letter as it contains important information about the award. Government aid. Canadian students can also apply for government assistance to help them pay for their studies. In fact, the Government of Canada offers loans and grants that are delivered in partnership with participating provinces and territories and are available to full-time and part-time students, students from low and middle income families, students with dependents, as well as students with permanent disabilities. It's important to know that you can apply for federal and provincial grants and loans only through one application, directly with your province of residence. You cannot apply through the federal government directly. The application is also available online. You don't need to repay grants that you may receive from the government, although you do need to repay loans you received after finishing school. You may be eligible for more than one type of grant, for example, if you have a permanent disability. When you apply with your province, they will assess your eligibility for all available grants. The amount of aid you can receive depends on several factors, which includes your province or territory of residence, your family income, if you have dependents, your tuition fees and living expenses, and if you have a disability, for example. As mentioned, you can apply for government aid through your respective jurisdiction with one application that is available online. Usually, students benefit from integrated assistance from the provincial and federal government, and there are multiple jurisdictions available with their respective rules. Ontario, British Columbia, Saskatchewan, New Brunswick, and Newfoundland and Labrador work together with the federal government to assess you for both federal loans and grants and their respective provincial loans and grants. All the federal and provincial loans are then managed by one single loan provider, which is the National Student Loan Service Centre. Alberta, Manitoba, Nova Scotia, and Prince Edward Island also assess your application for both federal loans and grants, as well as their respective provincial loans and grants. However, the National Student Loan Service Centre issues only the federal loan grant portion, while those provinces issue their own loans and grants. As such, students repay their federal loan portion to the National Student Loan Service Centre and repay their provincial loan portion to their respective jurisdiction. As for Yukon, usually Yukon issues grants for eligible students, and they will also assess your application for federal loans and grants. Nunavut, the Northwest Territories, and Quebec also have loans and grants available, but they do not do it in partnership with the Canada Student Loan Program. They operate their own student aid programs. So to be eligible for government aid, you must be a Canadian citizen, a permanent resident, or a designated as a protected person. You must also demonstrate financial need, be enrolled in a degree, diploma, or certificate. If you are to be full-time, you have to be registered in at least 60% of a full-time course load, or 40% if you have a permanent disability. If you want to be registered part-time, usually to be eligible, you have to apply for 20 to register in 20 to 59% of a full-time course load. You must reapply for government aid every school year, as the application is only in reference to a given academic year. Applications are generally available online every year, beginning in the month of May. However, you should also consult the website of your respective jurisdiction for the exact dates, because not all jurisdictions' applications for financial assistance are open in May. Some of them are a little bit later in the summer. You're definitely encouraged to apply for government aid as soon as applications become available, so to ensure that you receive your funding at least by September 1st. And regardless of the actual course that you take, what is important is to reflect your intended course load. So whether you are able to register in a specific course, what matters is that you really indicate that you intend to register. For example, let's say if you want to be a full-time student, do indicate that you're expecting to register in 5 courses, for example, which is usually 100% of a full-time course load. For most jurisdictions, applications for government aid and all supporting documentation must be submitted 6 to 8 weeks before the end of the study period. For OSAP in Ontario, applications must be submitted no later than 60 days before the end of the study period, and supporting documentation can be submitted no later than 40 days before the end of the study period. You can also find more details on government assistance and how to apply on our website. Once you're at McGill, you can apply for the work-study program, which I mentioned earlier. And to be more specific, the work-study program offers students with financial need access to clerical, research, technical, library, or other jobs on campus or in some McGill-affiliated hospital or organization. A student's acceptance to the program is usually based on financial need. You can also find more information on eligibility on our website. So for this year, applications for the work-study program open on July 1st. and you can apply on Minerva in the Financial Aid and Awards section. You can also apply for a fee deferral on Minerva if you're having trouble paying for your tuition fees on time. Usually for the fall term, you can do so starting mid-July, and for the winter term, starting mid-December. In future years or throughout your degree, you can also apply for need-based in-course financial aid at the Scholarships and Student Aid Office as well. McGill believes that that universal access to education is primordial. So it should not be dependent on a student's capacity a student's financial capacity. Our office offers bursaries and loans to supplement core funding, and it is made possible by generous alumni and donors set aside from tuition increases, student associations, specific government grants. We provide bursaries, as I said, loans that must be usually repayable, but they are interest-free while you are in full-time studies and you don't need to pay them right away. We also offer the mobility bursary for exchanges and the enriched educational opportunities, which, as mentioned earlier, is need-based aid as well if you have, like, for experiences outside of the classroom, unpaid internships, for example, would be, or research positions outside of McGill. You can apply for in-course financial aid from our office anytime during the academic year. The application is available on Minerva in the Financial Aid and Awards section. After submitting the application, you must schedule a one-on-one appointment with a financial aid counselor. The counselor will then meet with you and assess your financial situation for potential aid. You may find really this to be very helpful in general. We're very, very nice too. It's always a pleasure to meet with students and see how we can provide them with, how our office can provide them with assistance. However, what we usually do is supplement government aid and other types of core funding, as I pointed out earlier. You can also find more information on how to apply on our website. To be considered for in-course financial aid, you must be in full-time studies in a degree program, in satisfactory academic standing, which is usually a CGPA of 2.0. You also have to be on government aid and have demonstrated financial need. No matter how a student funds their degree, everyone needs good financial habits. And so the more you know, the better you can manage your finances. As such, our office also offers one-on-one counseling around budgeting and debt management. And we also have an online toolkit and workshop series called the Frugal Scholar to help you develop good financial habits. You can also find much more on our website. We offer virtual as well as in-person appointments. We have an office located downtown in the Brown Student Service building, and we also can meet with students on the McDonald campus. For any questions around that, also I would invite you to email us. The student.aid@mcgill.ca would be a good first choice. And I would also highly encourage you to visit our website at www.mcgill.ca/student8. Videos on our website are also available for more information, as I pointed out, for example, on paying for your undergraduate degree, need-based funding for undergraduate students, budgeting to reduce financial stress, among others. And ultimately, we're here to help. So for any questions, I'm here now, and you can also, of course, send us an email at student.aid@mcgill.ca.